We're the moms who ask the questions, digging deep, no second guessing. From the school run to the crime scene, truth and chaos, we're the dream team. Bad Kids Club, yeah, we ride or die. Side eyes sharp and our standards high. Brought together by FKR, now we're taking truth real far. And we're just getting started. Talk time with Amy Boston and Kelly, spilling facts that hit your belly. Partners in crime, fueled by conviction. Moms on a mission with sharp intuition. Talk time, we're calling out lies with caffeine, chaos, and side-eyed vibes. It's raw, it's real, it's how we vent. Leaning close, let the reckoning commence. This is Talk Time with Amy Boston and Kelly, where the tea is hot and the truth cuts.
Hey kids, what's happening? Happy Labor Day. Happy Monday. I never get to do this. It's like, I love this. Hey, Hey, Drew K in the house. We have our communications department in the house. Miss Hate Corruption. Yes, sir. We got Danny. Hey, Danny. It's good to see you, baby. Happy Labor Day, Rosie. What's going on? I'm happy to have you guys all here. So let's just start. I decided when I was up with my boy early in the morning, I was like flipping through YouTube and I thought of a case that I've been wanting to cover so bad, so bad. I haven't really seen anybody else cover it in the area on YouTube, and I don't know why. I don't know why. Has anybody outside New England or inside New England, doesn't matter, has anyone heard of the New England serial killer where there was like body upon body? Oh, hey, it's good to see you, baby. So there's supposedly a New England serial killer, and they found like a bunch of bodies, like from Connecticut up through Framingham in Massachusetts and some in Rhode Island. And no one's covered this. And it's not like written in stone that police are not saying that there is a serial killer, but it is fascinating and it is side-eyeing. I will tell you that. It is side-eyeing. There's women all around the same age, pretty much a lot of them are Black, found near right off highways. There was one down in Plymouth, there was one in Framingham, there was one in Connecticut, there was one in one or two. I don't we're gonna watch some stuff. Bob Ward did a couple of segments on it on Fox 25. Bob Ward, by the way, if you guys are Boston natives, you know is the true crime bomb diggity. Hey, oh my God. Yeah, they say 7 to 9 dead. And that's just the ones that they have. There was a couple, I guess, it was a young Black girl in Framingham. She was found on the side of the Mass Pike, near the police barracks. Hey, Christine, good to see you, honey. Welcome in. She was found over by the state police barracks on the Mass Pike. And I think she was one of the first ones that was found. And then was like, boom, boom, boom. There were a couple that were said to be a part of the New England serial killer, which ended up not being. There was like domestic violence people that they had known, and it had been said that they were not a part of this conspiracy that there's a New England serial killer. Did you know, I read one time that you walk by in a lifetime, everybody walks by at least 3 serial killers in their time walking on Earth. That serial killers doesn't necessarily mean the boogeyman, right? If you are a person that has killed multiple times in separate instances, that will make you a serial killer, right? It doesn't have to be sexually motivated. It doesn't have to be, that just means that you are her habitual fucking murderer. Yeah, right? Thanks, Hate. Yeah. So, what's everybody doing today? Yeah, I'm telling you, it was too close to home. I'll tell you that. And there's like young girls, and they're not saying if these girls were known prostitutes or anything like that, because unfortunately, the reality of this situation is that people like prostitutes, drug addicts, and things like that are easily preyed upon. People that are serial killers often go off the most vulnerable, that they think that no one's going to look for them, which is so fucking sad. Which is so sad. I got into the Oregon, Washington State killer, who is in prison now, but he is suspected of killing 7 women, and that's who he went after. And he put them in random places, but unfortunately, he didn't know that these moms were looking for their daughters. They wanted their daughters home. And even though these girls, some of them, or 2 of them, at least, that I saw, kept in constant contact with their mom, even if they were, oh yeah. Sorry, my ADHD is bad today. I can't look at chat and I can't talk and chew gum at the same time. They were in constant contact with their mother. So when this happened to them, they were like, "Where's my daughter?" and started asking questions. And they went to the police, and the police wouldn't help them because their daughters were over the age of 18, which I don't agree with, by the way, which I don't agree with. Listen, if a parent comes in looking for their child, they should at least do like the college try to find them, because it doesn't matter if a child is over 18, that will always be your child. And if a mother's like, I talk to my daughter every single day, then all of a sudden she goes ghost for 3 weeks at a time, that's usually not a good sign. That's usually not a good sign, kids. Yeah. Yes, please like and subscribe. You can become a member here. Years ago, there were killings in the Freetown State Forest, freaky area, bad juju. Where is that, Rosie? Yes. Hello, Christine. I know Christine over from the alternate corner. She's my buddy over there. I don't know if she was identified, but they said that she was a young girl, as far as I know. We're going to find out. I have so many cases in my head. The Green River Killer was crazy. That's another one that I've looked into. Yeah, of course they are. They're getting into strangers' cars, like usually, and that, or they're going to hotel rooms with random men. You don't know these people, and usually there's a middle person in between you. If you're an escort, there's a middle person in between you and them. You don't know who you're meeting. Oh, really? Really? I'm gonna have to look into that, honey. How many were found over there? Was it in the same area? I've never heard of that. Although, so there was a girl from Groton that was, sorry, I'm hitting my mic with my coffee cup. Do you like my breast cancer cup? My friend, my son got it for me. There was a girl in Groton, Massachusetts, that was found. Her torso was found right outside. Same bitch. I'm a renegade too. The girl, her torso was found inside luggage right outside a cemetery in Groton, and it was kind of like the same MO as what they had been finding from Foster, Rhode Island, Springfield, Framingham, down in Hartford, Connecticut, I think. But there's several of these women. I think multiple were found within a 2-week span. And there was another body found last year. There was wildfires, and someone came across a body in the woods from a wildfire. So it goes, hold on, what does it say, Amy? It goes back always, prostitutes from, oh yeah, wow, that's interesting you bring that up, baby. And I actually just watched something on the Bridgewater Triangle, but prostitutes from New Bedford and stuff, the Long Island serial killer, Rex Huberman, he's suspected because he owned homes in Massachusetts. There's murders in New Bedford tied to him. And, there, one of these, I don't know if we'll get to it today, but one of these were saying, it's really hard when killers like this go across state jurisdictions, right? Because there's no like central database. There's no central database saying like, hey, there's this guy here, and we have 4 women that were strangled and sexually assaulted, but like right over Rhode Island, like I live really close to Rhode Island, right? So if someone took me and brought me to Rhode Island, yeah, so it's really scary. There's no central, they're trying to like gather up this database so that every jurisdiction can kind of talk to each other, but no one wants to deal with each other. Oh, hey, dog mom. Good to see you, mama. Yeah. 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 I mean, dog mom, you live close to where one of these girls were found. So like in close vicinity of one of these girls. I remember the day that they found the girl's skull. And all of these people are right off of the highway. Like it's not like, and they're kind of far in. Someone said that was kind of like, I don't know. They said that you have to like know the area really well in order to like get to this specific area and bring them far enough in to the woods that you'd have to know the area. I don't necessarily believe that. Although people stop like going in the woods by yourself. How about that? Can we stop going in the woods by ourselves? Yeah, can we? All right, we're going to start off with our homeboy Bob Ward, because why not, right? This is a kind of precursor to what we're going to be listening to. Yeah. Going forward. All right, let's do it.
Enforcement says no, but online chat groups say yes.
First at 6, rumors of a New England serial killer are spiraling online. Several bodies have been discovered.
We begin now with a follow-up on the rumors circulating on social media regarding an alleged serial killer here in New England.
Online.
Social media.
13 bodies, 3 states, 1 terror. The discoveries came fast and without warning. Bodies turning up in rivers, near trails, and deep in the woods. Each scene more disturbing than the last. As the body count rose, so did the fear. But when the public demanded answers, they got silence, speculation, and then another victim. This isn't a movie. It's not just an online theory. These are real people, real families, trapped between public suspicion and official denial. In this video, we separate fact from rumor to answer one question. What's really happening in New England?
I'm going to stop it right here for a second. Listen, the police don't want bad press, okay? As much as everybody wants to believe that, like, they want to be transparent, and listen, we all know in this chat and on this channel that police are not transparent, okay? However, they don't want bad press. It's a business, okay? They don't want people thinking that they're not doing their job. They're not out finding this serial killer. Whether there is a serial killer or not, I think there is. Drew made a good point. There is 13. And last there was like 12. So they keep finding bodies, right? And police don't want bad press. They don't want people to be like banging on their precinct doors, being like, find the serial killer, my daughter's out there. Like, and this is the thing too. How many fucking bodies are there that they haven't found? Because there are vast amounts of area to put bodies in New England. Okay. Vast amounts. And so they're not going to come up and be like, yeah, we have a serial killer. Look at Rex Huberman. It took, I don't know if Kindergarten Cop's still in here, but Kindergarten Cop, how many years did it take them to find Huberman out in the open? He was there. They had all of his information. They knew that he was 6'7". They knew that he was in a green avalanche, and they just did nothing. They did. Yeah. Oh, you think so? Interesting. I don't know, but all of those. We're gonna do a story, a stream on the smiley face killer. I don't know that that's my take on it, only because the smiley face killer in Boston is often college age boys, and they're found near open water. Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. I don't know. That man's he's a bad man. And I think his wife is complicit, but I digress. All right, let's go.
Let's dive in. New England might be known for its colonial charm, autumn leaves, and quiet coastal towns. But dig a little deeper, and you'll find a history that's darker than most people realize. In the 1960s, Boston was paralyzed with fear as women were found strangled in their homes. 13 victims, one supposed
wait.
killer, Albert DeSalle.
Hold on. This isn't my Bob Wood, is it? Hold on. No. Well, fuck it. All right. We'll play this anyway. This is Law and Crime. I thought it was Bob Wood. We'll go back to him.
To this day, some still believe the real Boston Strangler was never caught. In the 80s, Michael Ross, the roadside strangler, stalked the back roads of Connecticut and New York, taking the lives of at least 8 women. He was executed in 2005, the first to be put to death in New England for 40 years.
Wow.
Then there was Craig Price, the so-called Warwick Slasher, just a teenager when he murdered 4 people, including a mother and her 2 young daughters in Rhode Island. His crimes shocked even seasoned investigators. And more recently, the twisted case of Robert Bob Evans, a man who used multiple aliases to hide a string of murders across New Hampshire and California. His true identity wasn't discovered until years after his death. So no, New England isn't immune to serial killers. If anything, its past proves how long a predator can go undetected and how deeply these crimes can hide in plain sight. But in 2025, the region was forced to confront that darkness all over again. In March alone, half a dozen sets of human remains were discovered in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. 2 more turned up early after. By the end of April, the man had 12. Most of the victims were women, and some of the crime scenes bore eerie similarities. State and local authorities tried to calm the unrest, insisting the cases weren't related, that there were no signs of foul play.
Okay, so you're trying to tell me it's all right, Scotty. I love your input, and you know about the Long Island, and I kind of want to like do like a you're trying to tell me that you have 12 women found in an area. And of course they're going to say, no, there's no foul play. No, they don't want to scare people. They don't want to fucking scare people. You're going to try to tell me that you found 12 to 13 women or more in on like a road. Like they're probably going to put out a map. I can't remember which one this is. They're going to put out a map. It's on like the same fucking road. And then you have a serial killer, like I was saying earlier, with jurisdictions, and one can't keep up with the other. California's not keeping up with fucking New Hampshire. They know what they're doing. Stop it. Don't insult my intelligence. Ugh.
And so, some locals and especially online sleuths believe there's a prolific serial killer in their midst. And if that's true, the remains already found might just be the tip of the iceberg.
Right. I agree, Rosie.
It all began quite unsettling in March of 2005 in Norwalk. For 35-year-old Paige Fannin, a longtime hairdresser from New York. She had vanished 2 days earlier from West Islip, Long Island, and was last seen on March 5th in Wilton. That search has investigators trail scattered along the west bank of the Norwalk River, not far from an old abandoned bridge. A short time later,
Identified body of the woman recovered from the Norwalk River. She's been identified as 35-year-old Paige Fannin of West Islip, New York. She was found Thursday after Wilton police contacted Norwalk PD for assistance regarding a missing person.
Hi, Detective
Police say
Clark. Good to
Fannon's
see
clothing
you.
and personal items were left near the bank of the river. Ground and aerial searches followed.
in the context of missing persons investigations, the search for Paige Fannin that very same day, 180 miles to the northeast in Plymouth, Massachusetts, a hunter came across something strange while walking through the woods. Sticking up from the damp wasn't. He took a closer look and realized he was staring at hunter on one to report the at Hoffman's obviously been there for some time. The remains were sent out for analysis and identification. Unfortunately, however, the authorities never released the deceased's gender, approximate age, or estimated time of death.
Woman remained in area investigation.
And I just want to say this too, just because a body may have been there for a long time, like I believe the one that we were just looking at, that person was found off of Route 3 in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Okay. First of all, Route 3 in the summer is fucking packed. Okay. I can't say much about it going down there in like the winter because I don't normally go down there, but it's packed, and you have to have balls, okay, to stop on Route 3 and bring a body out. You got to have fucking balls. And the Mass Pike. You have to know. Can you imagine the amount of balls it would have to take to pull over on the Massachusetts Turnpike near the state police barracks and bring a body out? Like, and that body could have been decomposed and been there for a while. What's a while? Oh, hey, Stylins. Good to see you, baby. Thanks for being here. It's always good to see you, Clark. What's a while, right? I need specifics. I'm nosy as fuck. I need specifics.
2 weeks after the findings in Plymouth, Massachusetts, a man in Groton, Connecticut, Colonel Ledyard Cemetery
I had it wrong.
on Mitchell Street.
I thought it was Groton.
He told the operator that it had been there for a few weeks, that his the event and the of rotten flesh. Closer look. Police officers swung by the cemetery later that afternoon, and to his horror, the suitcase contained a decomposing human torso, partially wrapped in a heavy-duty trash bag. Due to the advanced state of decomposition, the Connecticut State Medical Examiner's Office could only determine that the victim was female and was probably between 45 and 65 years old at the time of her death.
A lot of these victims were older, not young girls.
The following day, a resident of New Haven made yet another grisly discovery, clearing from Whittiers' home on Rock Road in an advanced state of decomposition. But just a few days later, the deceased was identified as 59-year-old Denise Leary, who disappeared from New Haven in the fall of the previous year. Her son, Joshua, told the authorities that she suffered from a number of mental health issues, including depression and paranoid schizophrenia. He also said that 2024 had been a particularly tough year,
Right, Drew.
and that his
that's
mother
right.
had been acting strangely immediately before she disappeared. On the night of Sunday, September 28th, she told her son that she was going out and asked him to switch off her phone's GPS function. A few minutes later, she walked
That's
out the
odd.
front door, got into a car that had just pulled up to the curb outside. Joshua couldn't tell what kind of vehicle it was or
Hey, knick-knack.
who was driving it, but he was relieved when his mother came home a few hours later. The next few days were relatively uneventful, but Miss Leary didn't respond when Joshua knocked on her bedroom door on the morning of Tuesday, September 30th.
So
At that
wait a
point,
minute,
he
wait a
decided
minute.
not to disturb her.
Does this give you, prostitution vibes? She switched off her GPS location and got into a random car. Like, I'm not accusing anybody, but it is The predictor of future behavior is directly correlated to previous behavior. And so all these other serial killer cases that you hear about, this is like time and time again, right? Time. Oh, 02136 in the house. Yeah, come on. What's up, Smata? Is the best predictor of future behavior is looking at previous behavior. And if she's asking for her GPS to be turned off and then gets into a random car and never appears again, not looking good, kids. It's not looking good.
Because he assumed she just wasn't ready to get up. However, he was surprised to find that the door was locked from the inside when he went back to check on her again a few hours later. Joshua immediately called his aunt, who urged him to hang up and contact 911. The emergency workers forced their way into Miss Leary's locked bedroom later that morning. They found her bed empty and one of the windows wide open, suggesting she had climbed out her bedroom window. As the body count continued to rise across the region, so did the speculation. Online forums lit up with talk of a serial killer, and soon the rumors were spilling into the community, creating fear, tension, and growing distrust. With most of the victims being middle-aged women and the circumstances raising more questions than answers, the New Haven Police Department felt a mounting pressure to address the public's concerns.
Oh, Stephanie and Aaron, just in the last week, New Haven police say they've received calls from People magazine and Rolling Stone. They say someone actually came up from Florida, knocking on doors in the neighborhood, even reaching out to that family to see if there was any potential links to those other
I just want to
remains.
put this out there too. I don't know if you guys are aware of the drug-ridden area of Boston called Mass and Cass. It's Massachusetts, Mass Ave, Massachusetts Ave, and Melina Cass. It is a drug-ridden area. Okay, and there were camps down there of just drug addicts, drug dealers. It was like you drove by. And I'm not being mean because I have a past myself, but you just want to bathe. Okay. You just want to, okay. And down there, the methadone mile, exactly. Methadone mile. Yeah. There are tons of women missing. Tons of women missing. And there's one in particular that stands out in my mind that she has been missing since going to get her boyfriend money. Yeah. And the boyfriend was, I can't remember her name right now. I'll look it up while we continue this. But there has been a known serial killer down there picking up young women for sex and them never coming back. The police have been told time and time and time again that these people are missing. There's literally a Facebook page dedicated to missing women on Mass and Cass. Okay. I know it's a very, very yeah, they live it's like in the heart of the city, kind of. It's right by Boston Medical Center. And they live there's underground tunnels that people live in, and they live underneath the highway passes, and there's tents, and there are legal areas that you can go and shoot up in that area because the police don't want anything to do with it anymore because people are being like murdered, and it's just like it's all bad. Like people are not being found in tents forever. Okay. I haven't been down there in quite a while. I don't go to Boston the hospital anymore. I go to Mass General, but it's really sad down there. But nonetheless, you want to fucking shower when you drive through. And these girls are going missing. And no one's listening. These police don't want anything to do with it. But there's literally Facebook pages dedicated to finding these young girls that just go missing. They can't find them at the coroner's office. They call the medical examiner's office. They like they're not in hospitals. They're not at the police stations. There's nothing. There's no sign of these kids. Yes, they don't care. They don't. But you know what, too? These prostitutes, men, women alike, they are somebody's fucking mother. They're someone's daughter. They're someone's sister. And they don't care. They don't care. And so there is technically it has been said for years that there is a person or persons down by Mass and Cass picking up young prostitutes, and they're never coming back, and there's no sign of them anywhere.
In New England, well, New Haven police say clearly there aren't any right here.
It seems to be growing, and there's no basis behind it.
New Haven police addressing the swirling rumors and those wondering online if the death of missing woman Denise Leary is connected to any other recent cases of human remains.
Social media
No one
can
finds
speculate.
them.
We have to deal in facts. There's no facts to support that this woman was murdered.
The 59-year-old Leary was reported missing by family back in late September. In March, her remains were discovered not too far from her home. But over the past 2 months, speculation has grown online of a southern New England serial killer. The Connecticut State Police is heading up a case in Danielson, telling Eyewitness News this investigation remains active and ongoing. There is no information at this time
Danny.
suggesting
Good to
any
see you,
connection
Mama.
to similar remains discoveries. As for New Haven, Officer Christian Bruckhart, the department spokesperson, says while the medical examiner listed Leary's death as undetermined, the autopsy showed no signs of foul play.
So the people who are avidly investigating, we're hiring, and feel free to come apply. I get that there's a sense of wanting to investigate or interest from social media or online, but this woman had a family. She was loved, and we
Right?
the family needs time to grieve.
I'm sure they
By
do.
Wednesday, March 26th, 4 bodies had already been discovered across Connecticut and Massachusetts. But later that same day, the death toll grew. In Foster, Rhode Island, about 90 miles east of New Haven, an unsuspecting walker came across another set of female remains near a well-traveled
Vigilantes?
trail. Just like the torso found in Groton, Connecticut, this body was partially wrapped in a trash bag. Needless to say, the find unnerved many of the town's residents.
Me too, baby. Me too.
Shame. I hope they catch whoever did it.
For Tom Slater, a lineup of police cruisers outside his home last night, followed by a visit from state detectives this morning, confirmed his worst suspicions.
They just said that they found a suspicious trash bag. And being in the fire service, I kind of knew, that, they found the body.
Rhode Island State Police confirmed the remains of an unidentified woman had been located just a stone's throw home, feet from traffic along Plainfield Pike in a vacant lot.
I mean, it happened somewhere else, and they just, wooded area, they dumped the body.
The investigation started last night after officers say a Foster resident called in the suspicious discovery. The investigation continued well after sundown, with crews returning early this morning. Still no word on how long the remains had been abandoned there and what was actually recovered. Slater says now looking back, he wouldn't be surprised if they were there for a while.
I know my dog's been acting strange when he comes out here, and he's always sniffing over towards that way. But, I mean, I don't know how long the body's been there, but he would pick it up.
Meanwhile, for others living along Route 14, the discovery serving as a reminder, that even in their
riddle me this though. What is for a while, right? Like if you have like food, I'm not comparing the two, but if you put like a fucking salmon in your fridge, it's been in there a while when it starts to smell after a month. Is that a while, or are they saying like years? Your bitch got questions. I got questions. As far as it would have smelled. I mean, you would think so. I don't know what a dead body smells like, but I can imagine that you would smell that on a hot summer day. You think years? Okay. That's true, Wayne. They can be, yeah. I mean, some people online are crazy and like they're not in it for the right reasons. But I'll tell you what, I want to be a private investigator. I would love that. You don't want to, I don't want to.
typically quiet part of town, anything can happen.
Soon after the disturbing discovery, the victim was identified as 56-year-old Michelle Romano, who disappeared from Foster the previous summer under what investigators described as mysterious circumstances. Michelle had been an advocate for those with intellectual and developmental disabilities at the Trudeau Center in Warwick and West Bay, Rhode Island, for over a decade. She enjoyed time in nature, especially at the beach, and loved painting and listening to music. She leaves behind 2 children. According to Michelle's family, it wasn't like her to abandon her kids and run off without telling someone where she was going and when she'd be back. Investigators didn't find any significant clues while searching Michelle's apartment, and the medical examiner couldn't determine a cause of death. Then, additional
That doesn't mean
unidentified
shit.
human remains were discovered in Killingly, Connecticut on Wednesday, April 9th, bringing the total number of bodies found to 7 across 3 states since early March.
In the last 2 months, 7 bodies have been found around New England. And while law enforcement is not connecting the cases, people online have other ideas. Boston 25 News reporter Bob Ward joins
We
us
sure
live
do.
in Brockton. Bob,
Here's
the
my
talk
man.
is getting loud enough for police to address these rumors.
I love Bob Ward.
Rachel, you know, more and more people online are paying attention to this. They are concerned that some or all of these cases might be connected and that a serial killer might be striking in New England. In some corners of social media, like Facebook, the serial killer could be on the prowl and getting more popular. This Facebook group, New England SK, has nearly 9,000 members. And in other forums,
I
people
agree.
are posting their concern that some or all of the bodies recently found in New England might be connected to each other. Some of the bodies are unidentified remains. The bodies discovered in Groton
Oh,
and
that's sad.
Killingly, Connecticut are close to a Rhode Island case. So far, law enforcement is not connecting the cases. However, the talk online has grown so loud that recently Groton, Connecticut police issued a statement that said in part, regarding references circulating on social media about incidents in the state of Rhode Island, we currently have no information connecting those events to any of the incidents in Groton.
Liar. Well, no. Groton,
Unfortunately, it
was
didn't take long
NWC.
for the next disturbing development. 2 weeks later, on Tuesday, April 22nd, police responded to reports of an unresponsive woman found near a bike path, roughly 75 miles from the earlier scenes. She was discovered alive, but tragically, she later died, and an investigation into her death was started. 3 days later, on Friday, April 25th, the Groton Police Department held a press conference to announce a major development related to one of the earlier cases.
Groton.
Good afternoon. My name is David Burton, B-U-R-T-O-N. I'm the Chief of Police for the City of Groton.
New Bedford.
City of Groton Police Department would like to provide an update into the investigation that began in March of 2025. At this time, we've been able to identify both a victim and a suspect of this crime. The victim is identified as Suzanne Wormser, aged 58, who's a resident of the City of Groton. The suspect is identified as Donald Koffel, age 68, who's also a resident of the City of Groton. Both the victim and the suspect knew each other, and this was a targeted event.
He looks like a predator.
Let's go over a timeline. On 3/19/25, we responded to a crime scene at Colonel Ledyard Cemetery where the victim was located. Detectives then began talking with neighbors who could assist in uncovering what had happened. Follow-up was performed on leads that were received via the department's social media page, as well as calls placed to the department by community members.
Right.
This included contacting other police departments in surrounding states to research whether or not the reported incidents were related.
He definitely has that look.
On 4/11/25, a tip line was established, which began to receive additional information. And on 4/16/25, a tip received from a concerned citizen provided a possible victim identification and led us to Allen Street. On 4/17/25, the Allen Street residence was searched, and another crime scene was discovered and processed. This resulted in the initial identity of the suspect, who was interviewed at that time as a person of interest. On 4/18, with the initial testing completed, the two crime scenes were connected. On 22/25, the suspect was interviewed for a second time, and on the same day, a witness came forward with specific details about the crime as told to them by the suspect. And on 4/23
God,
of 25, the suspect was interviewed for a third time, and at that time confessed to the murder, providing details that matched the scene documentation as well as evidence collected by the investigators. Today,
Okay, I'm not being gross, but do you know how much power it takes to like manually hack up a body? I've never done it, but I'm gonna assume that that's not like an easy task. Okay, I'm just gonna assume that that's not like an easy task, and then to be so emboldened that you put the body in a fucking suitcase in front of a cemetery out in the open. Cuckoo, wackadoodle.
the suspect was arrested and transferred to the State Department Corrections. He was held on a $1 million bond pending his arraignment at New London
I
Part
love
A,
Bob.
which is located at 70 Huntington Street in New London. The charges that were leveled against the suspect are murder in violation of Connecticut General Statute, 53A 155, and improper disposal of a body in violation of Connecticut General Statute 7-64. The City of Groton Police Department, along with myself, wish to express our sincere
Love you,
condolences
Heather.
to the family of Suzanne Wormser, who was a victim.
So in Massachusetts, Mass State Police would have done investigation with local. This is actually Groton, Connecticut, where the body was found inside the suitcase, which ended up not being a part of this, but it was said to because they were finding so many bodies back to back to back to back to back. But if it was in Massachusetts, especially on the Mass Pike or Route 3 or in Framingham, Mass Pike, it would have been MSP. It definitely would have. Yeah. It would have been punted to them.
Of this heinous incident and did not deserve to lose her life at the hands of the suspect. And with that, I'll take some questions.
Can you talk about how they know each other and what transpired as far as, this violent act?
So this is a cohabitating relationship, meaning they live together. As far as the violent act itself, that would be a key piece of the crime scene, and we're not going to talk about that at this time.
Oh, we're not?
Suzanne Wormser's remains were found less than a third of a mile from her last known address. The body was in an advanced state of decomposition, making visual identification
Somebody. Well, let's say Scott. Yes, girl. Maybe we could do that. Oh, and that's another thing too. There's another supposed serial killer in Brockton. So I was talking about Mass and Cass. There's another supposed serial killer or persons in Brockton doing the exact same things to girls out there. Yeah, exactly. Can someone tell me how long, like, does it depend on the weather? Like, they're like, it's been there out there a while. The body was decomposed, blah, blah, blah. But like, if she was put there in April and she's found in September, I'm going to go on a limb here and say that she decomposed pretty fucking quick. Because if anyone's been outside lately, it's fucking hot out. Okay. It's fucking hot. Hold on. What does it say? What does Rozzy say? Do you think the person pulled over while on the Mass Pike and put it in the wooded body or the breakdown on the edge of the road place? Yeah, I mean, because in the area that it was, you got to think too, Rozzy. I lived right on the Mass Pike in Brighton, and I could hear it, right? But like it would still take a while, even at the closest place to live or be on like a pass road that wasn't the Mass Pike. You have to go pretty far. I mean, it's not like, yeah, weather plays a part. Thank you. Yeah. I lived over in like Lower Alston, Brighton area, right on the Mass Pike. And I could hear the Mass Pike and I could see it from like my bedroom window. But like to be where the body was found, you would have to, I don't see it happening. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Anyone over on X, if you are watching us on X, come over to Talk Time with Amy Boston and Kelly on YouTube. I say it all the time. This place is the best.
The state medical examiner's office extracted DNA from the torso and compared it to samples obtained from personal items recovered at Suzanne's residence. The results came back positive. Koffel and Wormser lived together in a shared apartment. At first, he denied knowing anything about her disappearance. But during a third round of questioning, investigators noticed inconsistencies in his story, and that's when he cracked. Over a drug-related dispute, he told detectives he struck her with a baseball bat,
It's
then
always
used
drugs,
a
kids.
handsaw to dismember her body. Police later recovered both items, along with a bag of bloody clothing from the apartment. Forensics confirmed it. The blood matched Suzanne's DNA.
I'm Donald Koppel.
Koffel was arrested and charged with murder, tampering with evidence, and abuse of a corpse. Authorities were clear this was not a random act of violence. It was personal, it was brutal, and it was entirely separate from the other cases being investigated. May 9th, 2025, just weeks after his arrest, he died in custody at Corrigan Correctional Center. The Department of Correction later confirmed that Koppel had been battling advanced pancreatic cancer and that his death was not considered suspicious.
Oh, poor guy. Abuse of a corpse. Yeah. He killed her and then cut her up. And then he placed her torso in a suitcase and put her in front of the cemetery like a mile away. Oh, is that it? Abuse of a corpse is just yeah, I mean, he killed her and then hacked her up. I mean, I can see that being abuse of a corpse. I don't know.
So while his case brought some closure to the Wormser family, it also reinforced what law enforcement had been saying from the beginning. Not every body is part of a larger pattern. And just when it seemed like things might be slowing down, additional discoveries pushed the region further into panic. More remains were found in Taunton, Massachusetts on Friday, April 25th.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about
and 2
Taunton.
days later, a boater called 911 to report a body in the Connecticut River. The district attorney's office announced that the woman found near the Springfield Bike Trail 6 days earlier had been identified as 45-year-old Megan Meredith.
Yeah,
Sat
she
down
was.
with Hamden District Attorney Anthony Gallooni this afternoon, and that's when he confirmed with me that his office has in fact determined that this matter is a homicide. 45-year-old Megan Meredith was found in the area of Springfield's Riverfront Park early Tuesday morning. Meredith was unresponsive at the time she was found and later died. And on Friday, the status of that discovery went from unattended death to homicide. However, the Hamden District Attorney's Office assures Western Mass News that his office, in conjunction with the Springfield Police Department, is working on the.
I'm going to get
District
coffee. I'll be right
Attorney
back.
Anthony Gallooni had to say.
I'm always a proponent of people being aware of their surroundings and being careful, no matter where you live and where you are. But with the recent instance, the recent murder this week and anything else, I am not in a position to say. There's no reason to believe there.
Officials stated that at this time, her death is not believed to be connected to the other remains found across New England. But the story didn't stop there. None of them part of the original timeline, but each one landing like an aftershock. One in a river. One near a celebrity's beachside mansion in Westerly, Rhode Island, and each one raising the same question. Are these isolated incidents or more pieces of the same disturbing puzzle? And as for the skeletal remains found in Killingly, Connecticut, first reported back on April 9th, they've since been confirmed to belong to an unidentified man believed to be between 25 and 45 years old. That discovery broke the pattern of female victims and has been reclassified accordingly. Officials believe those remains had no ID, no cause of death was released. But it was the Westerly discovery which caused a media frenzy, not just because it added to the growing list of human remains, but because of where it happened. Just blocks from Taylor Swift's Watch Hill mansion, one of the most high-profile addresses in Rhode Island.
The neighborhood is known for the iconic Ocean House and is near pop star Taylor Swift's vacation home. Leanna Folk has more on the investigation.
Sorry, kids, I need some coffee.
It kind of alarmed me. It's a spot known for its $1 million views.
Yeah,
Which
same.
is something very out
Same
of
bit.
the ordinary for Westerly. But Wednesday morning, Westerly police made a chilling discovery. I saw 3 police cars, one undercover, 2 looked like Westerly Town police officers.
Westerly's
and
far
there was
down.
a medical examiner pulling in behind me. Investigators called to Everett Avenue just before 9:30 in the morning for reports of human remains. Police tell NBC 10 they found what appeared to be a human leg bone. Taylor Day lives nearby. She was driving by as investigators arrived. Scary for
Walk all the way off.
Westerly's, I consider a very safe town. Police aren't releasing any names yet, and they don't suspect foul play. I think finding a leg is very suspicious. You may not recognize Everett Avenue, but just up the road is the iconic Ocean House. The luxury lot now the backdrop of this disturbing discovery. Probably a couple football fields away from Taylor Swift's house and the Ocean House. I would never expect.
This is very reminiscent of the Long Island serial killer, where he put them all on that Ocean Boulevard, wrapped in the burlap. And this is the thing too, is like once serial killers start coming out, there's people like BK who want to be copycats and want to do what they did, right? This is very reminiscent of it. Scott is a Long Island native. All right.
Anything like that. It's the latest in a string of grim discoveries and debunked rumors of a serial killer in southern New England. My mind immediately went to all the theories that are being thrown around. Still, many residents like Taylor are on edge. I'm more aware of my surroundings. I don't go places that are, kind of dim or where I could be alone. Just trying to stay out in public and just be vigilant.
Police quickly secured the area. Cadaver dogs were deployed and forensic teams combed the shoreline along Everett Avenue, trying to determine whether this was an active crime scene or yet another dumping ground in what some now feared was part of a large pattern. The woman met custody of the remains, but so far no identification has been made, no confirmed sex, no DNA match, just a leg bone.
Listen, if there's a leg bone found, I'm going to go on a limb here and say that that person was dismembered. What does Scotty say? I can't believe there's actually people who think BK didn't do it. Yeah. He has a fucking fan club, bro. Yeah, that's the exact type. Right. And if she had been there for a while, who knows? Because he is known to have frequented Massachusetts and Rhode Island and Connecticut. Because this is what these people do. Like we were just talking earlier on about the guy who was from California to New Hampshire. These people aren't talking. These people are not fucking talking. Oh, we have my little brother. Hey, shit. Who said, oh, whoa, holiday shit. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to go on a limb here. Yeah. What's up, honey? It's good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Legs don't just like grow on trees. Yeah. Leg bones, human leg bones don't just happen to appear on a fucking beach. Oh my God. Don't you think these fucking people insult your intelligence?
Weathered, found in a place that shouldn't have had anything like this.
Mm-hmm.
As of May 16th, 2025, the body count across New England stands at 13. Although officials continue to insist there's no evidence these deaths are connected, many community members remain concerned. These days, more and more New Englanders are checking those indoors throughout the day and making sure their homes and apartments are buttoned up tight before turning in for the night. Meanwhile, crime-founded rumors about the cases and their possible connections online forums and social media.
Is there a serial killer in New England? Because that's what a bunch of people online are saying. I guess they found like 8 bodies in quick succession, and now people are throwing out the idea that maybe they're linked.
Yeah, me too. Prison justice.
Serial killer just
Oh wait,
dropped.
can we talk about that? Do you guys know that fucking Adam Montgomery had to be moved from New Hampshire prisons down to Virginia because he was getting the fucking brakes beat off of him in prison, and he was not safe. So they sent his ass down to Virginia where no one would know him. Yep. And her piece of shit mother got millions of dollars. Like make this world make sense.
Seriousness. Apparently, there is a serial killer in New England currently.
One of the main sources of online speculation included in April, one group's anonymous member posted a cryptic message suggesting that multiple bodies had been buried along Scarborough Beach in Narragansett, Rhode Island.
I used to
The post
frequent
triggered a
Scarborough
full-scale
Beach.
response. Law enforcement, along with cadaver dogs, launched a multi-day search of the area. It was costly, comprehensive, and ultimately, nothing was found. As investigators
Okay,
dug deeper, they
so-
discovered that the same
I remember this. I was watching this earlier. Yeah, he can't run far enough. People are going to find out who he is. People are going to Google him. They have their tablets. Okay. And I hope he gets the treatment that he gave his daughters and his other kids. His other kids, I'm sure, were abused too, just not the same as fucking poor Harmony that her mother swore to go find and never has. Fuck that bitch too. They're trying to say like, oh, we had credible tips to go search Scarborough Beach in Rhode Island because of all of this stuff happening, and we spent thousands of dollars and it ended up being unfounded. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean that there's not a serial killer or someone out there hurting people. You're right. And if the hold on, sorry, my ADHD. Yeah, and if the inmates don't, the COs will spread it. You're fucking right. Absolutely. Listen, inmates do not like people who harm children because often they were abused themselves. Hey, Kelly, it's good to see you, babe. The mother, I use that term real loosely. Her egg donor. Let's be real. Her egg donor. She brought her into the world, probably reluctantly.
user had posted several follow-up comments clarifying that the original message was metaphorical and part of a fictional narrative. The user also stated they were working on a novel and that others were simply misinterpreting a creative writing exercise. In the end, no charges were filed, but the incident underscored how easily online rumors can spill into real-world investigations and how quickly speculation can turn into action.
But it doesn't normally. What have they done but tell us that we're lying?
All of the online chatter, even when well-intentioned, experts have stepped in to bring the conversation back to reality. According to James Allen Fox, one of the nation's leading criminologists who has studied serial killers for more than 30 years
This is what
and has
BK
written
was
18
going
books,
to
there are
PhD
two major
school or
reasons why the New
get his
England serial
doctorate
killer theory
in
doesn't hold up.
criminology. Can you guys see it?
Second, the location. Many different cities and towns. Fox points
Sorry,
out that serial killers usually have a preferred dump site, someplace familiar, predictable, safe, where they know the terrain and can avoid detection. And here's the practical angle. Most serial offenders hold down jobs. They have lives, families. They're not roaming the Northeast for weeks on end, hunting random victims.
Right. And
there's
that's
another
important.
layer
Wait,
that
that's
often-
important. That's an important notation to talk about because these people aren't in there. And the serial killers aren't like hunting day in and day out and whatever. It's like a Friday night sex itch, right? I had said this one time when Omar was on with these serial killers. It's like they live a normal life. Look at BK. He's just going about his day and it's a fantasy. And it's like an itch that they need to fucking itch, right? Some killers have been worse than others, but they live a normal life. Half of these men were married with children. and they're going out and fucking offing other people's children because they're fucking cowards and they're sick.
Gets overlooked. Timing. Some of these remains were found just days after the victims disappeared. Others, authorities believe they'd been there for months, maybe even longer. That kind of variation makes it hard to draw a straight line. Rivers, suitcases, wooded trails. That level of inconsistency doesn't align with what we typically see in serial crimes. Most repeat offenders develop rituals, habits they rely on. They evolve, sure, but they don't improvise this much. So if this was the work of a single killer, it wouldn't just be rare, it would be unprecedented. For these reasons,
Is that true? Because I can name, listen, I know far too much about serial killers. Okay. They fascinate me. That's not true. The unprecedented, there are people who have hey Robbie, Kimmy, I know, that's why I told you this morning. This is our thing. It's good to see you, Robbie. Serial killers work and have 40 to 50, sometimes 60 victims. Don't know what the fuck this dude is talking about. And they span across states. Look at that guy from California to New Hampshire. Are you kidding me? You fucking kidding me? I have questions. Insulting our intelligence.
and more, according to Fox, it is highly unlikely this is the work of a serial killer. Dr. Catherine Ramsland, the forensic psychologist and author,
DK.
recently discussed. She stressed the importance of focusing on factual information and the potential harm that unfounded theories can cause to investors among law enforcement experts.
That causes the speculation to really catch fire over the internet. You have groups like the Web Sleuths that are looking into this, that are making it into a bigger case than it may actually be. There's no forensic information to another event.
No one should jump to conclusions as to what may be going on here.
J. Paul Vance, retired
I'm
state
jumping
police
to all the
lieutenant and
conclusions,
WFSB's law enforcement analyst,
All
says
of them.
agencies share
Every single
information
one.
comparing any similarities.
If it reaches a point where you need to be concerned, they're going to let you know. And these are difficult cases. I'm not going to say they're not, especially, when you get 2 or 3 in the same, similar area.
Fuck out of here with your fucking
13
fucking lies.
sets of remains, 3 states, weeks of speculation, one for consistent victim profile, men, women, different ages, different backgrounds,
Yes, there
some
is.
missing, some not, a few still unidentified. There's no clear pattern in how the bodies were
Yeah,
found, no
exactly.
shared cause of death, and no telltale signature linking them together. And geographically, these cases are spread across 3 states, different towns, different timeline, different jurisdictions.
Yeah, no,
Not exactly the footprint
Hold
of
on,
a
I'm
typical
pausing
serial
this for
killer.
a second. I know we've done a lot of pausing, but it's almost over. And I think I have one more about this in me before I have to take Kung Fu Panda out. We made some plans with a friend of mine and his son. So, yeah. So I agree with this, but they keep saying that they don't have a way that they died, right? So how can they say for certain? I mean, there's no certain terms here, right? But if you look at it for what it is, I'm saying that they can't rule out that it's not the same person either. So to make all of us residents of New England be like, oh no, you're fine. Go walk in the woods by yourself. Nope. Go. You listen, the prostitutes in the area should be fucking forewarned that there is a man picking you up and you're never going to come back. Okay. I'm not saying it would stop them, but a little insight may make them second guess when they go to do it. Yeah. Oh, our Tonka. Yes. We have an emotional support puppy in the chat, and his name is Tonka, and he's a French bulldog, and he's like the love of my life. Oh, please. Just TS and Israel. Exactly. Communications department. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to do, are you guys in for another video on this or what? Let me know in the chat.
Could some of the cases be connected? It's possible. Some investigations are still active. Tests are pending. Families are waiting for answers. The story isn't finished, but as of the time of this upload, there is no credible evidence pointing to an active serial killer. The experts have spoken, enforcement agrees, and that matters. Because fear spreads fast, but facts, they take time. And that's what this case needs most. Time, patience, and the truth.
Perfect. We'll do more. We'll do more. I love you guys. I'm into this shit too. Okay. So we are going to change me to this. And I'm going to take this off. I'm going to put me on the screen. Ah, did I lose me? What happened? What's going on here? Hold on here. Let's see. How long is this one? All right. We got another one from, here I am. I'm new here. I don't know how to use this. Perfect. All of you guys, yay, you guys gonna stay with me? This stuff is like my jam. This type of like true crime content is like where like my passion is. And I would love to do more weekend mornings. So if you guys are into it, so am I, and we'll continue this. The chat has spoken. Scotty, Kelly. No, we're good. Kelly has things to do. So I am going to put on another one. I hope it's not the same thing. I don't think so. Okay, so this here is titled New England Serial Killer Mystery. Top Cop Probes Creepy Case Connections. I have not, but Kim, we are going to be doing a smiley face killer stream as well. Like that whole thing, I've been into that since I was like a teenager, right? Like I listen, there's something real fucking fishy going on with that. And we're going to get down to the bottom of it. We're going to try, girl. We are going to try. All right. I'm going to share my screen with you and we will go through this. And I actually have one more video too, if you guys are up for it, but we'll get through this one and see what happens. All right. Nope, nope. I don't like that. We'll do this. Okay. Here we go, kids. Here we go.
Down what his very interesting comments might mean and where this investigation goes from here. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Conversation about a possible New England serial killer who heads up the Massachusetts State Police. That is a big deal. Now, before we get into those comments and what they mean, and we'll talk about it, what am I talking about here? Well, there have been a series of deaths in the New England area, and there has been speculation that there is a connection, that there is potentially a serial killer. Let me lay it out for you. March 6th, the body of 35-year-old Paige Fannin.
Hold on, kids. I just want to let you know that this was produced on Law and Crime Sidebar with Jesse Weber 2 weeks ago. So this is like the most updated information that I could find.
From West Islip, New York, was recovered in the Norwalk River out in Connecticut near Main Avenue and Gristmill Road by the Norwalk Police Department's scuba team and fire personnel. According to Tomasz Podgorski, the river's personal items were reportedly found near the bank of the river. In fact, I'll tell you, a GoFundMe was set up in Paige's memory, and it reads in part, Paige has left behind two amazing parents, two sisters, and one brother, along with many more family members to mourn. If you had the honor of knowing Paige, you would know how deeply she cared for who she loved. Due to the loss of someone so young, no family is ever ready for something like this. With that being said, I ask whatever you can contribute to help, even if it's just spreading the word, would be of great appreciation from her loved ones. Next, also on March 6th, currently unidentified human remains were found by a hunter in a wooded area near Route 3 in Plymouth, Massachusetts, so approximately 180 miles away from Norwalk. According to Boston 25 and Boston.com, a police report indicates that authorities found a human skull with nasal and jaw portions missing under leaves. It was reportedly green in color, appeared to be weathered. This is according to a police report per Boston.com. And also, Boston 25 reported that this sparked interest from the families of two missing women, Sandra Crispo, who vanished 5 years before this, and Brittany McCormick,
Kim.
who disappeared in July of 2021. But to be clear, nothing to indicate at this point that the remains belong to either woman. Then you have the brutal killing of 58-year-old Suzanne Wormser of Groton. Her remains were found in a suitcase near the Colonel Ledyard Cemetery in Connecticut on March 19th. Now, on April 25th, police announced the arrest of 68-year-old Donald Kofel, charging him with Wormser's murder,
This is
tampering
going
with
to
evidence,
repeat
improper
some
disposal
stuff.
of a body. He allegedly confessed to police to killing this woman he once lived with by saying, "All right, man, I did it. I hit her in the head with a bleeping baseball bat and it cracked her bleeping head open." And by the way, when it comes to him, according
Tell
to
me how
local
you really
reporting,
feel,
he
sir.
has since died in jail. Next, we
Good.
go to March 20th. Now we go to New Haven, Connecticut. So over 150 miles away from Plymouth, 50 miles from Groton, a little over 30 miles from Norwalk. According to police,
Okay, not for nothing. They're saying like, oh, 150 miles. Bro, I drove like 80 miles to on Thursday in a couple of hours to get to the Cape Cod with my son for his birthday, and I did another 80 miles on the way home in a couple of hours. Like, that's not very far. Like, they're like, oh, 150 miles. Sir, that's not that far. Not in New England. You can get to fucking all states in one day.
This is where the remains of 59-year-old mother Denise Leary are discovered in a wooded area, and they were reportedly in a state of advanced decay. Now, the Office of Chief Medical Examiner confirmed the body was that of Denise, and according to WFSB, Denise had been missing since September 20th, 2024, had last been seen at her home, had been reportedly suffering from paranoid schizophrenia. Mass Live reporting, though, that the investigation has not indicated this is a homicide. March 26, Foster, Rhode Island, almost 9 miles from Norwalk, for reference. The
An hour and a
body
half
of
away.
56-year-old Michelle Romano was found in a wooded area 8 months after she disappeared and was reported missing by a family member. Investigators confirmed they were looking into the, quote, suspicious circumstances surrounding her death, with
Yeah,
WJAR
exactly, Mark.
reporting that authorities searched a home in
Exactly.
Warwick, Rhode Island, that was thought to
You
be
do
the
that every
last
day,
known
boo.
address of Michelle. WPRI reporting that Michelle was considered by friends to be generous and a loving and devoted mother of two. A Facebook group had been set up for Michelle as well. A post from April 1st reads, "Yesterday, our family received the devastating update that Michelle had been found, and we will never, ever let Michelle be forgotten." And the post
Oh.
encourages anyone with information to reach out to the Rhode Island State Police. April
Yeah,
9th,
Melanie, the case is
unidentified
crazy.
human remains were found in Killingley, Connecticut. So that's less than 10 miles from Foster, over 80 miles from New Haven, a little over 40 miles from Groton. They were found, according to ABC6, on a dead-end road by a
I just went to Westerly, Rhode Island to the beach like a month ago or whatever. And from where I am, we had to drive past we drove past Foxwoods in Connecticut to get to Westerly, Rhode Island. All of our states in New England are very close, and you can make it to every fucking state in a matter of hours. Just do like a loop. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. My work wife, she goes through all the states in one day, multiple times a week. I mean, it takes, what does it say? It takes an hour and 15 to go from Providence to Nashville. Yeah, bro, it's not far. It's not far. And they're like, oh, 150 miles. If the guy wanted, if this person, whoever this killer is, okay, if they wanted to, they could go from where they are in Killington, Connecticut, up to Vermont in a matter of hours and drop a body. So I'm not buying this shit. Tri-state. Well, I mean, yeah.
body of water, apparently near railroad tracks. Then the next day, April 10th, Framingham, Massachusetts, 60 miles from Killingley, 60 or so miles from Foster, almost 100 miles from Groton. Firefighters found human remains near the Massachusetts Turnpike. This happened while they were fighting a brush fire. Now, the DA's office, the preliminary information indicates that the remains may have been there for several months. Information gathered at the scene does not indicate foul play. Daily News at the time, the remains were sent over to a forensic anthropologist. Springfield
Condoms?
police found a woman near a bike path on the 1500 block of Hall of Fame Avenue. She was declared dead, later identified as 45-year-old Megan Merritt. Now, we have been all on top of this New England story for a while now. And the reason that we can be on top of a story like this and really break it down and bring you updates is because of the amazing support that we get from our sponsor, Morgan & Morgan. This is America's largest injury law. And even if you think your case isn't worth millions of dollars, Hampden County District Attorney Anthony Guluni said 2 days later, we understand the unease that comes with such acts of violence, and we want the community to know these cases is being thoroughly investigated.
You do that like daily. You know what I mean? 2 hours. I don't want to say online if I have a weapon, but listen, fuck around and find out. My keys will become a weapon. This is the thing though. People, they're making it sound like you're driving from like, Oregon down to like New Mexico. It's not like that. 200 miles you can do in 2 hours. And if you are murdering people, 2 hours seems like a really short distance. No, I know. I know what you meant. I was being sassy. No, I don't really leave my house. I'm too old for that shit. But no, I hear what you're saying. I am well protected. But at the same time, I don't necessarily put myself in dicey situations anymore. Where I live in a really safe neighborhood. I don't live in the city anymore. When I was living in the city, bet your ass I had fucking weapons. Bet your ass. I lived through a home invasion. And it was really scary. Yeah. So 100 miles, they're making it sound like it's like so far that it's unfathomable. Like, no, stop it.
Investigated in close coordination with our law enforcement partners. While online conversations around these incidents continue to grow, we urge the public to be mindful of the role that social play in spreading fear or misinformation. Unverified claims can compromise active investigations and contribute to a sense of chaos that does not reflect the full picture. And that kind of echoes other statements that we heard from law enforcement. When, for example, the Connecticut State Police released a statement to People after the remains were found in Killingly, it said this investigation is in the early stages, remains active and ongoing, and there is no information at this time suggesting any connection to similar remains discoveries actively under investigation by CSP or other Connecticut law enforcement agencies. There is no known threat to the public at this time. Groton, Connecticut Police issued a statement that said in part, regarding references circulating and connecting those events to any of the incidents in Groton. By the way, Groton DC Louis Fusaro told WTNH on April 11th, I would tell people don't rush to judgment. But now, as I said, we are hearing from Massachusetts State Police. The
let's
leader
hear from
of
them.
the MSP, because the Massachusetts State serves in the Commonwealth. And what he said was published in the Boston Herald.
Oh, okay.
He came out, he said, there is no evidence right now about it. Tracking the cases. He said, homicide detective. I am tracking at the moment. Detectives are very much monitoring and tracking and aware of these cases. And certainly, if we do uncover similarities or consistencies between the cases, they have our attention for sure. So let me bring in right now retired FBI agent and attorney Bobby Chacon to make sense of what those statements.
Good to see you too, Jesse. Look, at the most basic level, they mean they can't shut the door on the serial killer theory. They just can't. And that's prudent. Although you want to not panic the public. So you want to say, look, this one, we know what happened. This one, we know what happened. These, we don't know what happened. And so, as we get more cases in and we take closer looks at them, we will explore whether or not these are connected. Right now, we don't see anything. But we're not closing the door on that as a future possibility. So I think that's, you know,
why not?
politically
Right?
I, I find that to be very telling. Now, Noble is, hey baby Jay, it's always good to see you. I'm glad that you got a reminder to come on and hang out with us. I'm not convinced that he even believes that. He's treading lightly with Massachusetts being the new head of MSP, and I'm glad that he didn't like write it all off. But at the same time, I feel like that's being disingenuous, because when you're literally getting fed all of this stuff and there's no rhyme or reason for a bunch of bodies that were found in a small amount of time, whether they have been there for a long time or not, are they connected to the LISC, or are they connected to the bodies that are disappearing off of Mass and Cass? Are they connected? Like, do your job, right? Like if I went to work every day and I didn't produce work, don't you think that would become a problem? And they'd be like, you know, I think we're going to go with a different option, right? Like if you're going to do a job, you have to produce. I know there's a lot going on, but to be so disingenuous and kind of just to shut the public up, being like, well, we're not going to say this right now. I know, I know that he can't, right? Do better. Exactly. Thank you. Hey, you know my tagline, do better. Do better. These poor families. And I hate when they always like blame it. Oh, Natalie in the house. Hey, mama. Are you back in school? Oh, hey. Oh, you're Brazzy. I already said hi to you. These, you know, they blame it on the mental health and being schizophrenic. Okay. All of these things are, but they're the most vulnerable of our society that are showing up fucking gone. Okay. And they're the easiest targets. They're the ones that don't get looked for. Okay. Some of these people really did. Right. They seem to imply they're working on open cases, but what are they really doing? It seems like nothing. It seems like, oh, happy first day back. I remember like the day you were out and like you were like waving the buses, like, peace out, bitches. It was amazing. Caden starts kindergarten on Wednesday. Oh God, this summer went too fast. Yeah, here we go. All right, guys, I'm going to continue this. Oh shit. I'm just
right? Why not? They could have just dismissed it and said, look, you know, these are all isolated incidents. We don't see a connection. But to not rule it out, now it's not a case where we could just say, oh, these are just online theories. These are just conspiracy theories. There's something about it. Is it the level? Is it the level of interest? Is it the frequency of the bodies? Is it the locations where they say?
100%.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's location at first. I mean, that's why we're calling it the New England, the possible potential New England, right? The New England is the geographic. And then, of course, then you start to look at more victimology and the demographics of the victims, you know, women, young white women, whatever it be, you start making a list and
they're mostly
categorizing
white.
everything. And you start to see up on matches as a 5%.
If you guys
match.
notice, though, they don't have the other woman with dreads listed, and she is another person who wasn't put in that list, but she was never found, and she was like not a known drug user or anything. She left her house at 58 and never returned. It was never found. Yeah, right. Exactly. I wonder why the FBI wasn't involved. Or are they? I think that they are. They were involved down in Narragansett when all of this stuff was going on, and there was credible sources saying that there was bodies buried in the sand down at Narragansett Beach, which is in Rhode Island. Beautiful beaches, by the way. Scarborough Beach, I think it was, which is like the state. It's like the private hoity-toity one. But the FBI was involved in that. So why wouldn't they be involved in this? Oh, hate 100%. Caden is going to be like, peace out, mom. See you at 3:30. I'm going to be crying. He's going to be like, see you later. Where they know all. Yeah, exactly. It can be very frustrating. It's very frustrating. Because why would you involve the FBI in the search with the cadaver dogs down at the beach in Scarborough, right? but it's not being investigated. I mean, it could be being investigated by the Boston division of FBI. But do better, because you know what's going to happen? There's just going to be more and more women and men, I don't know yet, that are going to go missing with their leg bones being found at the fucking beach.
At what point do we like kind of push it off the board? When we get an arrest, you know, like in one of these cases, the room or the housemate was arrested for. So you can kind of put that one off the board. That's what you have to do. Each past one, as you individually and you left from, you try to find a similarity. What the chief said, what their fusion center does is what the FBI's VICAP does on a nationwide basis.
And to be clear, the people that have been arrested in connection with what now could be argued to be isolated incidents, there's no evidence as of right now, at least public evidence, to suggest that they are somehow implicated or connected or responsible to the other deaths. Could that change? Maybe. But just to put a fine point on this, are you saying there might be a unit or a series of detectives, part of the MSP, who are actively, like you said, have a chalkboard looking for connections in all these cases? Or are they waiting for something to?
They're always waiting for something.
I'm going through each one of these cases. In these cases, this is so banal to say, is there a New England serial killer task force that's looking at all these connections right now and trying to see if there's some similarities or not?
Natalie's getting a cape.
I don't think there is yet. What I think there is a loose collection of investigators and really analysts. This comes down to our criminal analysts who do this kind of work, who really dig into the details of what the investigators have come up with, because each case has its own set of investigators depending on its jurisdiction. They have detectives assigned to that case that are looking into that case specifically, because every case has a perpetrator and every case needs someone to raise from all this and chase down that perpetrator. And so and then you have a larger picture, and that's because the analysts kind of can put that picture together. They can keep track of what's happening in other cases. When it comes time, like you said, but you know, where they have, so like we saw the Long Island Search Force, where you have a task force, but we are looking into these things as a possible serial killer. I don't think they're there yet. I don't know if they'll get there. They might, but I don't think they're there yet. I think what you have is a loose collection of analysts kind of talking to each other. And as one gets thrown off the board and another one comes on, they start looking at similarities.
Why is it significant that the Massachusetts State Police, the leader of this, is making this statement? This made the news. Why is it significant that he is talking about this and talking about tracking the cases?
Well, because I think back in March you had two. I think that was kind of where when the internet caught fire on it. I think there were two bodies found in different locations on the same day. Victims seemed like they were similar. So I think that they addressed it because I think they may have the majority, although I'm sure Connecticut and Rhode Island as well. But Massachusetts it's the biggest state. That state that I've worked with, they're top notch, and I think they took the lead on it to kind of start to address, because the internet wildfire. I just want to say,
I'm making comments, but like Mass State Police, aside from Karen Reed, with the Proctor and the conspiracy theory with that, they do work very hard, and there are really great MSP troopers. Okay. I just want to say that, and they do work hard, and they do want to get justice for families and stuff. Just because Massachusetts has a spotlight for corruption and different things right now does not negate the fact that there are really, really good police officers in Massachusetts, and we need police officers. Okay. We need police officers. I come from a long line of military and law enforcement, and I am not a cop hater by any stretch of the imagination. And do I think that the MSP is full of Proctors and Bukakis? Absolutely fucking not. Because I know local police in my own town that are fucking amazing. Okay. I know Mass State Troopers that are fucking amazing. Okay. And they helped when a friend of mine was killed. I've had a lot of run-ins that there are really good police, and don't let the Proctors and Bukakis of the world ever take away from the really great law enforcement and military that we have. Yeah, all kinds. I mean, there's all kinds. I had one of my local police officers one time, I think Caden was like 2, and Caden just like loved watching him like look out. He was looking out the windows, and he saw Caden and was like, come here, you know. And he had a police cruiser just come, and all like there was like 2 different, there was like an SUV and a car, and they came and they let Caden get in it, and they brought him like model my town, I'm not going to say where I live, but my town model car, and they were absolutely incredible. And I've never had a bad experience. I've never really had a bad experience other than a couple of times with law enforcement, but they are the exception to the rule. Okay. And I'm not going to stand on a soapbox and be like, all police are bad. Massachusetts is fully corrupt, blah, blah. That's not the case. It's just the Proctors and Bukakis and the fucking, who's Kenny Berkowitz. Those are the exception. And they make us look really bad, right? They make us look really bad. So I just wanted to say that, because I'm side-eyeing this, but I'm side-eyeing the answers, because I don't believe that there's not someone out there harming women in this area, or multiple people for that matter. Mass and Cass, Brockton, all up and down New England. Like, you're not going to find all these bodies in a 2-week span because nothing's happening. That's just my opinion from being absolutely fascinated by cases like this for many, many, many years.
And so I think that they needed to kind of maybe tamp that down a bit, and kind of say, we're on it. We know what you're saying. We're seeing some things, and we're taking a look at it, so that the internet doesn't say, why aren't the police looking at this? I think this was the way of going, we're aware, and maybe relax a bit.
How rare are serial killers when we're talking about this? Obviously, people online are suggesting there has to be something here. But in your experience, how rare are serial killers, particularly ones who, if we take this situation, operating in different states, different locations, would someone have the ability to do this and dump bodies in different places? I mean, how rare is it? How do you typically see it?
Well, and I only speak from the...
Hold on, Rosie. Next time I do coffee time with Amy in the weekend, I'm actually going to cover Sean Ellis. I'm from Hyde Park. Like, I remember when the Mulligans thing happened, and that's corruption too. But I just don't believe that it's everybody and everything that happens. Okay, there are fucking criminals out there. There are people that deserve to be in jail. There are really good cops. I'm just saying that a lot of times the corruption and badness outshines what is good about them. So do I think that all Mass State Police is bad and they're not trying to help anybody? I don't believe that. I just don't, and I never will. Do I like what's happening? Absolutely not. But this is the thing with Sean Ellis. I would rather have a person go free that has done something than for a person who did not commit the crime to spend 28 years in prison because the poor kid had a fucking stutter and there was a white cop outside of Walgreens shot dead. And I think it was a fucking prostitute who killed him. That's just my opinion.
Investigative point. I was looking for the perpetrator. I wasn't the profiler on these cases. Although I worked with profiling, some of them I make good friends, and I work serial killer cases as an investigator. The experts, and I'm not one, but the experts that I follow and I talk to, the ranges for anywhere from there's
LTL is all over the Enrique case. Yeah, Walgreens is still there. We used to listen during Lent. We used to go in that parking lot to Boston House of Pizza and get our cheese pizza because we couldn't eat meat on the weekends. I know that parking lot very well. And poor Sean Ellis was right down the street. I don't know. I don't follow anyone anymore, but he's following the Enrique case.
On the low end, probably 30 to 40 to 50 operating serial killers in the United States at any given time. And the higher end is probably 2 to 250 operating at any given time. And so those are frightening numbers.
Yes,
there was an expert, I think, Mr. Fox, or Dr. Fox, put out like, well, these are probably not the work of one person, because when he looked at them, they were very different geographic areas. And they
Listen,
were.
I know some people have like a type or whatever, but yeah, right. I mean, back in the day, that wasn't there. It was like a Bradley's and everything like that, but it is a Stop and Shop Plaza. It is. And I remember when that all happened, and that is corruption. And these are the things that get spotlighted, right? I'm going to cover Sean Ellis, because that fucking case gets me so mad. So mad. That boy spent 28 years in prison for a murder he did not commit, for a fucking thug cop. Absolutely. On well, yeah, right. No, it's before Walk Hill. It's American Legion. Well, Walk Hill will be at the end of it. You're right. Yeah. 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 The next cemetery. Right. My friend who got murdered is right at the cemetery at Walk Hill. And he doesn't even have a plaque because his parents couldn't afford it. It makes me really sad. There's just like a little paper one. And he's with his brother, though. So I know that he's with somebody that he really loved. All right, baby.
Concerns me, Israel Keys, he actually verbalized to us in the interrogations that he knew if he could keep random to his victims and random
you're
to
not
his
wrong.
location,
You're not wrong.
he could get away with it for a longer time. And he got away with it at our estimate, about 14 or 15 years. And so he had a young girl that he killed, a 19-year-old girl in Alaska, which is where we got onto the case. And then a year before, we later found out that he killed an elderly couple in their 50s or 60s, different victims completely. And he had done that for 14 or 15 years. So, they learn. They watch
Oh, that's what I was
programs.
saying
They
before I
learn.
got on my soapbox again. Just because all of these women are different looking, or they're of different ethnicities or anything like that, does not make them, even though it doesn't make them a victim of a serial killer, does not make them not. Because some people know that, like, they're looking for people who have an MO, a type. Like I'm gonna assume that like most serial killers have a type that gets them all riled up, right? But it doesn't matter. It's matters of opportunity, right? So if these women were a matter of opportunity, then that doesn't mean anything. Right. Yeah, you're right. I was thinking about some stupid case that they were splitting involved. LTL was at the courthouse every day. It was just ridiculous. I think that was the Enrique one. I don't know anything else he's covering. Genuinely, at least. So every day we go to Wendy's on the corner. Yeah, that's American Legion. Absolutely. Oh my God, I love Simcoe's. Okay, I used to go when I was like back in the day. Me and my girl would be in my fucking my Fifth Ave, and we'd be driving down like Morton Street, and we go to Simcoe's. I mean, does it get better? I haven't been there in many years. Jay, yeah, it's where Hyde Park Ave and American Legion meet, so it's like toward the Hyde Park area instead of the other like Mattapan area. Yeah, it's like some of these people, Blue Hills, yeah, they do. They have two. Well, I don't know if they still do. I haven't lived there in 10 years, but they had two they had one in the corner and then one on Blue Hill. I'm like looking like I'm on the street. Yeah, I loved their hot dogs. Give me a hot dog at 2:00 in the morning when I was trashed. Okay. Yeah. So back to this, it's a matter of opportunity. Some people don't give a fuck, right? They may not have even been sexually assaulted. It may have just been like an ambush. We don't know what went on, but for them to say that it didn't happen, I don't know.
As law enforcement is involved, they are learning how to not get caught, and that's one of those unfortunate side effects of the public's interest in this stuff, is that there's more publicity, there's more programming, there's more coverage, but that also becomes a learning tool for the people out there committing these crimes.
Aside from the fact that those even are very scary to think about, 200 or more than 200 is frightening. Does a statement from the Massachusetts State Police deter this killer to wait to maybe change. Let me rephrase this. Does the statement from the Massachusetts State Police, assuming for the moment there is a serial killer or potential serial killers, I'm not saying that there is, but with a statement like this, the news about it, people looking into it, does it deter account the random nature of it, but yet people are saying it's New England because of where all this is happening? Do they wait a period of time? I wonder if you talk about a serial killer who's not caught for quite some time, do they change up their MO, their tactics, so they're not caught?
I agree, baby.
Yes and no. I think it depends on the serial killer. I think for the most part, yes, you're right. They will kind of learn from the publicity that they're generating. And look at the Golden State Killer, right? I mean, he was in his 70s when he was arrested, so he got away with it for decades. But then we've seen, and
bro, my boys from high school like still go there. It's still there. It's still there, Jay. It's still
we all know the famous cases where they get involved in the publicity. They start taunting the police. You know, the Unabomber did that, and some others had sent letters to police because they enjoyed the cat and mouse. Sometimes it does deter them. Sometimes it's a learning lesson, and they change their methods. And so we're just on the profile of the person we're dealing with.
Yeah, aside from the fact that you wonder if it was one person or two people, ability to commit all these killings and dump these and not leave evidence, but you also wonder for a second about, could it possibly they just happen to be these kind of specific, perhaps remote places where you can see crime, or these wooded areas.
Jesse.
It's not one person, but it just happens to be something about those subject areas. I mean, that's a possibility too.
Serial killer, that every single one of these cases is explainable, especially when you look at how many young women go missing in this country every day. Every week,
every damn day.
Those numbers are staggering. Those numbers are frightening. Of course, a lot of those are runaways or whatever. There's explanations for them. But when you look at the overall numbers of how many young women go missing in this country, it's kind of an epidemic.
I didn't know that.
And so, the fact that a bunch of victims are found in the same geographic area around the same time doesn't necessarily mean that the same person is responsible for all of those. And we're starting to see that. We're starting to see the state police come out and say, look, we understand this one. We've made an arrest. We know what happened there. It was a domestic thing or whatever the case may be. And that person had a particular victim. So we know he didn't go out and kill these other people because we know the motivation behind the particular murder that we've made the arrest on. So yes, I think it's possible. It's quite possible that none of these are related, but it's also, maybe hopefully a faint possibility that some of them are related.
I like this guy. At least he's real. At least he's like, listen, we don't know that it is, but like, do you see his face? He's like, it might not be, but some of them might. Like, come on. At least this dude's real. Get him a cape. Kate, sign him up for. It's on me. Sign him up for a cape, and we'll send it to Saiba.
Just to go back to something you said before, when do you think we would hear another announcement, perhaps development from the Massachusetts police? This case, we probably won't hear a lot from them. A, because they're doing something behind the scenes. B, because they really aren't finding any connections and these are isolated incidents. When could we expect something? And even if they believe that there is no connection, would they come out and say that?
Well, that's a really interesting question because of the current environment we're dealing in. And so, obviously if another body is found and it makes the news and things like that, I think they'll feel compelled to these others. They may feel compelled to come out and address the internet rumors. It's a new world for law enforcement to be operating with.
Kimmy is,
we've always had pressure from the mayor and from the governor, sometimes from the White House on crimes. And I've faced some of that. But this is a new type of pressure being generated by the internet and by the viral nature of some of these stories. And so how law enforcement responds to that is kind of evolving. So it'll be interesting to see, whether or not they feel compelled to respond to the internet based on how crazy the internet gets with the rumors. And
they already did, because that's how Scarborough ended up happening down in Rhode Island. So there was things on the internet, on TikTok, that were supposedly credible hints of there was like multiple bodies down at Scarborough Beach in Rhode Island near Narragansett. And the FBI and the Rhode Island State Police went down there with cadaver dogs and searched for like 3 days. And it ended up being unfounded. And the person who made the confessions and stuff ended up going to jail. But the internets, okay? I don't agree with some of like the harassing internet bullshit, but like you get people like myself who is like, I want to be a private eye. Like I'm a sleuther, right? I will stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning researching cases because that's what I love to do. But the internet will internet, and like as much as they want to blow off the internet, right? We are some of like the best investigators up in here. Some of the best. Like, listen, there is stuff that like us as separately from being on Talk Time, like we will talk about cases and sleuth and get information. We're not saying they're better than the FBI, but if you're not going to do the work and people want to see justice for these women who are getting killed, when there are so many found in such a small period of time, that's a fucking problem. That is a huge problem. Even if it's one person missing and he's like, oh, runaways. How do you know that they're runaways? Were they originally a runaway? Yeah. Do they have probably a drug problem and mental illness? Yep. But they're the vulnerable part of our society that gets preyed on. And that's how they go missing. Like all those girls down on Mass and Cass, that their bodies, they've never been found. They were picked up in a car for prostitution with some John, or whatever you want to call them. I don't even know what you call them now. A client. And never found. Never. Not a body, not a phone call, not a Facebook message. And some of these chicks were listen, that's the biggest indicator of a problem is when someone is on social media constantly and then all of a sudden they ghost, and there's been no sightings of them whatsoever since the day that they went into a car with somebody. So you're not going to tell me that like, oh, well, they might be like, no, yes, exactly, Dog Mom. Someone has to be their voice. Someone has to say something. Someone has to look into this, because as an ex-drug user, okay, I was never in situations like most of these people down in Mass and Cass and stuff, but I know a lot of people, right, in that community, and it's sad. They are someone's daughter, someone's parent, someone's everything, right? And they get preyed upon. But the police think that they're less than because they have mental illness or they're a drug user. And that's not the truth. Someone has to be their voice. And it is so sad, Drew K. That's why we're here today on a Labor Day, and we're going over this because these women, these people matter. And if there is a fucking serial killer out there, then they should be looking into it. And I hope the FBI is looking into this, because these people matter at the end of the day. They're not just drug users. They're not just prostitutes. Oh, we have Calypso. Hey, baby. Good to see you, mama.
And speculation.
I can appreciate that. I am curious. Do you think investigators are also looking into the social media groups, the conversation online, for two reasons? One, first of all, whatever we want to say, internet sleuths, people are interested in it. They could provide potentially valuable information or make connections that maybe law enforcement is not looking at. And B, is it possible that if there really is somebody who's responsible for
my generation,
multiple killings here, and I'm not suggesting that there is, but if it's possible, have you seen that perpetrator infiltrate themselves into the groups, become a member, see what the conversation is about? So do you think investigators are actually looking at the chatter online, studying it as part of the investigation?
Brian Koberger did.
Well, you'd have to. And here's why. In my day, in Dinosaur, I'm pre computers. What you always had was you scanned the crowd that shows up at a crime beyond the police tape, right? You always saw these movies where the perpetrator is in the crowd. They're looking at their work that they did, right? They're looking at the police coming and going from the location where they committed a murder or set a fire or something like that. That's the old school version. The new school version of that is the social media.
Yeah.
The killers are now coming onto social media to watch their work, to watch the effect they're having on getting everyone spun up. And they're also looking at the theories that everyone's throwing out there. They're consuming what the police are saying. So it's the old looking beyond the police line for your perpetrator in the crowd. Now you're looking at that social media crowd, and you have the what we call SOMEX. Almost everything field office has one now. It's called the Social Media Exploitation Teams, and the task forces with state and locals and police officers and detectives, and they are specialists at analyzing those things that you talked about, those social media chat boards and Facebook pages and things, and things like that, and determine whether or not we have our perpetrator beyond that electronic police line looking into crime scene, in this case, into these chat boards and things like that.
With
Well, you know
Karen
what?
Reed,
We're good on top of it.
I keep bringing her up, but it's like my only point of reference at this point. When the FBI showed up at the grand juror's friend's house because they saw her post on fucking Twitter, like, you can do that, but you can't find a fucking serial killer. I call bullshit. Fucking priorities, people. Priorities. Yeah. Back in, I don't know, I'm 40, and back in my generation, that's exactly what it was. There was people getting OCs, and there was people getting all this stuff, and it came from doctors originally, because after that is when you started seeing all the heroin come in, and people, it was so sad. Like my entire generation, I can't count on my fingers and toes how many friends I have lost to addiction. And they were good people. They were good people that had some problems. And so if you're someone that talks about fucking addicts like they're pieces of shit, then you don't belong here, just so you know. City Living years ago. Yeah. I mean, you can get anything you want now. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. All right, guys. This is almost over anyway. Yeah, Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I hurt my back. I ended up having my first back surgery when I was 25. And I've always been kind of heavy, and I was a cheerleader in high school. And I ruptured 6 discs in my back. I ended up having to get surgery at 25 and then again at 30, actually. But I was given those. And prior to that, I had been kind of a party girl. But nonetheless, it was safe and you could take them, and it was really sad. And that's how it's wiped out an entire generation. But I hate when people like Jesse and this guy, or any type of law enforcement want to sit and say, oh, well, it's just this, or it's just this group of people, or it's just no, these are real people. Bye, dog mom. Love ya. Oxy 80s. Yeah. When things got crazy, and then people started passing them around, and then all of a sudden everybody's high. Everybody was high. And then you couldn't afford the OCs anymore because they were expensive on the street. You started getting other stuff, right? It's very sad. Yeah. All right. This is almost done, guys. And then I'm going to have to jet.
We've been following it for a while. We'll see if there's any updates. We'll see if there's any announcements. And Bobby, really appreciate it. We love your perspective. You're not a dinosaur. Don't ever talk about my Bobby Chacon like that. But Bobby, great to see you. Thanks so much for taking the time.
You're right, Jay.
Thanks for having me,
You ain't
Jesse.
wrong.
Great seeing you.
Hey guys, real quick little programming alert. I want to let you know that actually tonight on News Nation at 8 p.m.
Thanks,
Eastern, I'm going to be hosting Cuomo. I hope you can tune in. We might actually take calls from viewers. So if you have questions.
All right, guys. Let me get back to my regular screen here. I don't like the way I look at that. Hold on. Not that one. Right here. Sorry, guys. No? Where did I go? Help me. Oh, here I am. There's too many panels. I'm like, yeah. So thanks for hanging out with me today. If you guys like this, I'd love to come on the weekends and we can all chill and do like cold case files. We can continue with stuff like this. I want to do the Oregon serial killer. and I want to do all the things. And I'm so happy that you guys hung out with me on this Monday for 2 hours and went over this. I'm going to continue to follow this as well. Yeah, peekaboo, here I am. Here I am. I'm here. I do love to read comments. I do. Yeah. If you guys want to come back and leave a comment on the stream, that would be amazing. If you're over on X, come over and hang out with me and Kelly at Talk Time with Amy, Boston, and Kelly. I want to do more than just trials, right? I work a lot during the week, but if you guys are into the weekends on a Sunday, I would be happy to hang out with you and do things like this. Maybe next weekend we can do the smiley face killer. And go over that, and maybe Kimmy can hop up with me. Yeah, right. Yeah. What does it say? We grew up 5 houses away. Fast forward 30 years, and so, yeah, bro, it's so sad. Like, even at I'm just gonna say this. My nephew is like 15 and in school, and yes, Rob, absolutely. I forgot what I was gonna say. What was I? Yeah, weekend coffee with Amy. I love that. I would love to do that. Maybe every Sunday. Yeah. Oh, but my nephew being in high school, they have Narcan boxes, which, like, okay, fine, because of the fentanyl or whatever. But like, he's 15. He doesn't need to know what that is. But it's such a prevalent issue in life that there are 14-year-olds that have Narcan boxes. And that really breaks my heart. Even though it's necessary, like, right. But, and then this is another thing too. Maybe we can go over some mass and cass disappearances, and we can do some disappearances in Brockton and just bring awareness to these poor women and boys. There's boys too. You know, even if these people never get found, at least we could be a voice for the people who were vulnerable and preyed on and fucking discarded like trash one way or another. I got into true crime because not only do killers' minds fascinate me, like, how'd you get that way? But there are people out there that don't have family and don't have people looking for them. Yeah, Jay, I am so fucking sorry. It's literally everywhere. It's literally everywhere. I've had people overdose in front of me. They ended up not passing away, luckily. And I didn't know that they were high at the time, and it was really, really scary. But nonetheless, it's part of our world, right? And it's gotten worse over time. Oh God. Yeah, absolutely, Jay. Yeah. Drew, you're from this area, right? Am I correct? When I tell you I've lost a ton of people. My best friend, actually, he right before I was on bed rest, and he had done really, really, really well. Like, he was like the manager of a sober house in Lynn, and he was like a world-known graffiti artist, and he was just like the best. And he was so happy to become an uncle to Caden. I was so pregnant, and I was on bed rest, and I had talked to him on a Sunday, and we were laughing, and he's like, whatever, talking about Caden, and he's like, I can't wait to meet him, blah blah blah. And okay, perfect. I have family out there, actually. And I opened up Facebook 2 days later, and it was like, RIP, he passed away. And I don't think I ever really, really grieved it, right? But I don't look at any type of addict or alcoholic as a piece of shit. I look at them as if they are human with human conditions. And no one deserves what happened to these women, regardless of the reasons that if they were prostitutes, regardless of the reasons why they're people, and they mattered, and they had family, and some of them were moms. Like, I can't imagine leaving my son. I just going through breast cancer. I remember, like, people get lost in life. You're absolutely right. And it's easy. It's easy to get lost. I've gotten lost many times. Even having breast cancer last year and not knowing like what stage I was and everything like that. And the thought of leaving Caden was like, like, oh my God, and having to like do a living will and everything. I mean, just the thought of that. Rob drop the link to your channel in chat so that everybody can go subscribe. He's awesome. Rob is fucking awesome. Yeah, they're considered high. Exactly. And they're not sensational, and it's not some like wealthy little white girl who got like taken from her home or something. It's the media does not pick up the quote unquote undesirables, right? But who named them that? Why is that a thing? Why I've known people who have gotten horrible things happen to them, but because they were on drugs, they were overlooked and told that we can't help you. Are you kidding? Like, that's gross. Yeah, Robbie, put your link in, babe. I wanted to, yeah. Honey, I've been through a lot in life, and I've gone through addiction, and I've gone through trauma, and I've gone through all of these things, right? But some people come out on the other side and you get better, and you find your silver lining, and other people get so lost and so off track that they just need some guidance and never find it. But that's why we're here and we're talking about these people, because I want to say genre, in our group of like creators that people watch, they have never talked about this because it's not sassy. It's not something that's going to like generate a lot of people coming in. But all of you, we've had at least 40 viewers the whole time. And I thank you guys for being here. Yes, thank you. Thank you for being here. Seriously. Like, you guys, oh, here it is. Yeah, if you guys go sub up to Rob. He goes live. Yeah, honey. Yes, absolutely. Amen, girl. Amen. That's what me and you love each other. We got the same shit going on. That's why we're the Bad Kids Club. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, when I was like doing, I was doing a lot of recovery processes at the time. We would go down and give out waters and things like that. And like, I joke and I'm like, you want to drive through Mass and Cass and you want to shower, but like, that's how I feel today, because I just like, a part of me like is like, oh God. And the other part of me, it breaks my heart. And the fact that all these girls down there go missing, and nobody cares, and they've never been found. Like, what? Oh, it says page unavailable, honey. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on 1 second. Let me see. Let me put it in. Let me find you. Let's see. Was it Rob 132? Why can't I find you? Oh, honey, I can't find you. I'm sorry. Oh, there it is. There it is. Search. Hey, there it is. Hey, Rob. Okay, he put the link in the chat. Yeah, go over. Yeah, right. Jay, you ain't lying, honey. I had to stop. I went to the last two that I went to. I wasn't able to go to my friends, my best friend, because I was on bed rest and it was 2020 and it was like only for family. And I'm kind of glad about that in a way, because I want to remember him the way I remember him up here. But the last two that I went to were like, they didn't look like themselves. I was just like, oh, I can't do this anymore. I literally said to myself, I can't do this anymore. And even though I love the people that have passed away, the ones that I haven't been able to get to, I just want to remember them the way I remember them. Because at one point you couldn't get away with it. It was like person after person. I know mothers who lost multiple children to addiction. Right? Like that's horrendous. All right, guys. Anyway, so next weekend, me, you, talk time, coffee time, weekend coffee with Amy, and we will do maybe some smiley face killer. And I love you guys have hung out with me all this time. You can become a member. Make sure that you're subbed and you have your notifications on for when I go live, because sometimes I just go live randomly like I did yesterday. You guys loved it. I love you guys being here with me. All right, guys, I will see you. Oh, and don't forget, tomorrow, Adelson trial here. I think it's 9 a.m., maybe 8:30, not sure. But yeah, we'll do some smiley face killer next weekend. Absolutely. All right, guys, I love you. We'll see you later.
How am I supposed to say that? Talk time with Amy in Boston and Kelly. Time with Amy, Boston and Kelly. Talk 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 time with Amy, Boston and Kelly is a member, y'all. Is a member, y'all, to the Gene Deal Show. Talk time with Amy in Boston and Kelly. Talk time with Amy, Boston and Kelly. Talk time with Amy, Boston and Kelly is a member to the Gene Deal Show. Oh, thank you for your membership. Talk time with Amy and Boston and Kelly on the Gene.